you know, man, the seals. That's another one, but that ain't as important. That ain't nowhere near important. She's a nobody. Seriously, I'm like, she's another one. Everybody, where the fuck did she even come from? And she's not funny. She's supposed to be, and it's not hate. You know, I love a good joke. Nothing she said was ever funny, but this one, she spoke to Kamala's uncle. And then you remember what I said last night when she had the it wasn't a teaser. That's what I'm talking about. Like the Trish Reagan, she has, her titles. And obviously that's what I'm saying. See, like Candace, a black woman, like me, us black people, we don't even want to get, whatever. Just we don't want to, I don't know, oversell it. And remember I said the Trish Reagan is like turn. She's what I'm trying to say. Her titles have been just sensational. Letitia James is gone. It's like you don't know that yet. It's like you're actually a real, supposedly real journalist. From what we know, from most of us, we've seen you years ago, 10, 12 years ago, 15. You was on real news station before it turned all the shit. And your titles are misleading. Oh, Letitia James is done. You don't know that. And not even because you don't know that, like, oh, well, the evidence. No, it's like the evidence is there, but it's still a lot of corruption right now. So we don't know. And it's not, you're being positive. You're a journalist. You ain't supposed to be positive. And, yeah, I'm just being positive. Like, no, you don't know. Unless you know, or tell us the truth. You know something. You got the inside scoop. Seriously. Like Watergate back in the 70s. Who knows who she know. But it's like, well, if you can't say nothing, for whatever reason, don't make titles like that. Just all of it'd be different. The titles, you wouldn't be disappointed. She just would. It's a good chance. Oh yeah, yeah. Just put in them extra words. It's a good chance. It's looking like. But at first, oh, Letitia James is done. It's like what? You click on it. Oh yeah, it seems at least they're fine. No, that's not done. That means they're trying to get her. And she's wrong, she was wrong, she's fucked up. I think she should be arrested immediately, but anyway. So last night what I said was you know, even the uncle, yeah, he wanna call it, whatever. It's like that don't mean you know everything. Her uncle, you're Kamala's uncle. So, either the mama's brother or the daddy's brother. Was you in the bedroom? Exactly. Like, no, you don't know everything. Sometimes your brother, whatever, your sister might tell you stuff. But like I said, in the 80s, I saw stuff, family, and not no Tyler Perry shit. I saw it in real. I never thought about it like that. I never wanted to grow up and write movies like Tyler Perry about family scandals, all that shit. I ain't even have to put it in the back of my mind. Let me forget about it. I really didn't even think about it till last night when I saw this shit, and it's like, she's like, someone want to talk. And I thought about it like, they're going to try to say this guy is Democrats. Oh, he's actually a family member. How are y'all going to say he don't know what he's talking about? Like, bitch, it is not even just black families. There's been family scandals since Bible days. And it's not even, it's in the Bible. Most of us done seen family scandals, whether it's your family, a neighbor, a church member, whatever. One of your friends when you was a little kid, something you didn't see. Oh, most of us didn't seen family scandals, or it's just in the neighborhood, whatever. Everybody talking about it. Yeah, you know how women do. Black women.
I am absolutely giddy today, you guys. I did it. I spoke to Kamala's uncle officially. And by the way, he's a gem. 10 out of 10. I really wish that he was running for president instead of her because he comes across as a very honest man. I'm going to tell you all about that conversation.
Ah, never. Well, it's like, why should he be just because he's honest? You could be honest, but you don't know what you're doing.
How it's
But that's what. Remember, I've been said that about all of them. The other chick, off the dude Tatum, ABL, all of them are ex-Democrats. Owens, herself, all of them. Is no. I'm not mad. What I'm saying, they're too soft. You don't know. This is people's lives. Y'all might be doing good, and yeah, your job is sitting right there making videos. Already, this video got 188,000 views. There are girls like, just like Candace Owens, she's married, that got a kid, I think she got a baby. It don't matter if she married to a white dude. Seriously, I'm dead serious. But they have to actually work. So no, this guy is not a fucking gym. I don't care what you do. Well, click it and let it play. He might be a gym. I mean, if he just tells the truth, that's all good. But he should, whatever. Yeah, he don't. Is he a politician? What has he done that he should be running for president? Is he a businessman? And honestly, we're all like, Trump is a businessman. Look, but he's not a positive. If you think about it, if you know I just thought, and I know it's like, all this. It's like God telling me, all, because all the World War II movies, all of them, not just Ford, all these CEOs and who had to go into the war effort and this and that, business people just like Trump.
Many more questions, so many more questions that I have about Kamala and her true heritage. Also, she's once again been asked about her racial identity. This happened just 3 days ago, and suddenly she's a little iffy on the answer. Kamala and me are now in a very particular kind of relationship. I'm like Maury, and she's essentially my guest. I'm asking her a question. Kamala, during your run as president, we asked you if your genealogy was actually Irish Indian.
You said no. The lie detector determined that was a lie.
Oh! Welcome back to Candace.
Y'all didn't do enough. Y'all should have did too much. The editor, you should have found the clip of them niggas doing the backflips. when Morris said you are not the father, and them niggas that do backflips and shit. You need Democrats to say, you're doing too much. Y'all should have did too much on that one. You should have went and got.
Where to begin? Okay, so 2 days ago or 3 days ago, Kamala was asked again about her black heritage, and suddenly she is getting a little iffy on the details. You can see she does not want to engage in the conversation, and the answer that she actually gives is fantastic. It is just fantastic, and we need to now pick it apart. So she appeared on a show called All the Smoke, and she was interviewed by the hosts, which are former NBA players Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson. I want you to pay very close attention to her answer here. Take a listen.
What do you think when you hear people kind of questioning just the fabric of who you are?
Well, one, I don't listen to it.
Okay.
I'm really clear about who I am, and if anybody else is not, they need to go through their own level of therapy. That's not my issue.
Their issues, right?
My mother was very clear. She was raising two black girls to be two proud black women. And it was never a question.
I guess they listened to me. And that is a helicopter flying, and it's back there. So they said, well, let's do it. Where's all these helicopters flying over this area? I've been making videos here at least 2 years now, more. Now all of a sudden, it's just helicopters flying everywhere.
It's funny because over the years, journalists, some, not most, will want to talk about it. And I say, okay, if you want to have this conversation, I'm prepared to have it, but sit down and get comfortable for a few hours. If you want to start talking about race in America, you want to talk about the 1/8 rule. You want to talk about what it means in terms of who you are perceived to be and the impact that can have on the rest of your life, regardless of who you actually are in terms of your God-given capacity and the rights that you have and should have. So, I don't mess with that. I think that's other people trying to figure some stuff out, and they
got some issues.
They got to deal with it.
Even she poses it. Democrats, they got some issues. Instead of you doing your job, you get whatever, a check period to say you got some issues. When you get on them, you're not doing your job. You need to figure that out. I ain't doing this today. You just like my children. I ain't got time for that. No, bitch. You need.
What it means in terms of who you are perceived to be and the impact that can have on the rest of your life, regardless of who you actually are in terms of your God-given capacity and the rights that.
What the hell is that? What is she even talking about? What the hell does that have to do with running a country? Look up any leader, and they said some goobly goop like she just said. Supply chain is getting cut off. All that shit. You have a God-given capacity. What, bitch? Look, we need oil. We need gas. We need this and blah, 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 blah. We need personnel. We have a God-given capacity.
You have and should have. So, I don't mess with that. I think that's other people trying to figure some stuff out, and
I don't mess. You're the president. Well, one of you. She's the vice president. I don't mess with that. You don't mess with that. And you're the leader. Maybe if you a gang leader, I don't mess with that shit. Shit, nigga, I don't mess with that shit. Nah, fuck that. But no, you're the leader of the free world, and you don't mess, or you want to be.
They got some issues.
They got to deal with it.
Wow. So she just doesn't answer the question at all, right? So before we had her really leaning into being black. Now all of a sudden she doesn't even mess with that. I don't mess with that. I don't even mess with that. They need to go to therapy. She's pulling this Freudian technique. Obviously, I've spoken to you about Freud, who was a disgusting human being who essentially gaslit women who were actually being abused by their fathers. So what she's doing is this exact same Freudian technique of gaslighting people by being like, actually, you need therapy. The problem is you. The problem is actually you for asking the question. No, Kamala, we're asking the question because you made this a theme in your bookie book, which we're going to get to in a little bit, okay? So you don't get to now just not address the question whatsoever. Put yourself in her shoes, okay? I'm going to put myself in her shoes. I'm running for president of the United States, okay? And these questions keep popping up about whether or not I am black. Do you know how simple it would be to simply answer the question? List your black relatives in 4 seconds. I would be like, this is my grandma, this is my grandpa. Suddenly she's a little iffy on the details here. Why didn't she just say, yes, obviously my grandmother is Beryl. Here's a picture of her. She's black. I'm disgusted with the people that are even calling this into question. Here's my great grandmother, Iris Finnegan. I am obviously black. Instead, she goes, oh, do you really want to talk about it? That's what I say to these shows. Do you really want to talk about race? Do you really want to talk about the 1/8 rule? I mean, how dare she? And the answer is yes, Kamala. Actually, I would like to talk about it. Yeah, I'm actually totally up for talking about the 1-drop rule, the 1/8 rule. Let's discuss history. That's what those journalists should have done. That's what those former NBA players should have done, not giving her a free pass. I would have been like, no, ma'am, name your ancestors. And why are you bringing up the 1/8 rule at all? Let's talk about the history here, okay? The 1-drop rule was actually a legal doctrine in the United States that was used as a means of racial classification, okay? It really dates back to the antebellum period in Virginia, where people of color were considered legally white if they had less than 25% African ancestry. So we're talking about something that was pre-Civil War, but then the classifications became especially relevant throughout Jim Crow in the South, obviously, because of segregation. So they're like, are you white or are you black? So they needed to know how to quantify whiteness and blackness. The laws were first officially codified in Tennessee as one of Virginia's racial integrity laws. They wanted birth certificates to just be very clear whether a parent was legally white or legally a Negro, so that it was known which laws in society you had to abide by. What about Indian Americans? Because strangely, she brings up her mom. You would think the first thing she would do would be to bring up her dad. Instead, she brings up her mom. She's like, my mom was very clear that she was raising two black women. Your mother is Indian, like fully 100% Indian. So the fact that the first person that you recall is a non-black person is suspicious. And regarding Indian Americans, just to be clear, in 1923, the Supreme Court decided in the United States versus Bhagat Singh Thind that Indians were classified as Caucasians, as they had been by anthropologists. They upheld that, but they also made it clear that they were not considered white. So that is probably the answer as to why her mother put Caucasian on her birth certificate. That was actually the legal classification for Indian women. Now, also regarding this one-drop rule, Kamala Harris was never subject to it ever in her entire lifetime. She was born in California. Just to be clear, that was the very first state to end segregation, and they did that back in 1947. So they did it 7 years before the Supreme Court decision of Brown versus Education, which federalized desegregating all of the schools. So it actually infuriates me that she does this, that she essentially goes back and pretends that she's lived through something. Like, well, let's talk about the one-drop rule. Why are we discussing the one-drop rule? By the way, even if you were subjected to it, you probably would have passed, since none of your parents are listed as Negroes on your birth certificate. Like, what are you doing mining the history of black people that came before you and who you are still refusing to name? You put them in a book once, but that was it. Now you don't want to talk about Grandma Beryl. What's up with that? Now you don't want to talk about great-grandma Iris Finnegan. What is up with that? And by the way, as I was considering that, her upbringing and how strange it is that she keeps leaning into this idea, like she was born 2 years before my mother was born, and my mother didn't live through segregation. My mother didn't live through any of this stuff. These are not her memories. These are the memories of my grandparents. My grandfather lived through segregation. I'm going, why does Kamala keep doing this? Like acting like she grew up in the 40s and in the 50s with these sorts of memories. And then I remembered suddenly that she did this on stage a while ago, where she got almost...
She's younger than me. Like I said, what memories of sex, even if you grew up, by the time I was a kid, Candace herself is younger than me. Like I said, my grandmother, my great uncle, her brother, they retired in '85 and moved back down south. But they didn't wait until segregation was over. They had brothers and sisters who had been living down south the whole time. You see the movie or home movies of the '80s, Jerry Curls, that's all it was. So nobody else, and my cousins, they was born down south from Alabama, Birmingham. Them niggas doing good, man. The cousins that's older, like a year or two older or younger than me, really most of them younger than me. They're all doing good. They don't have they didn't grow up with, in the '80s, even though I was up in New York, or the '70s when we was real little, 3, 4, 5, 6 years. Nobody was told, the white folks, all this segregation. Their parents and grandparents or whatever, my mom and them they never left Alabama. So in the '60s, they were teenagers in the '60s. In Alabama, civil rights there, I don't know nobody who even has a story of all that. You know what? They did talk about Bull Connor every once in a while. I do remember that. I take that back. But it wasn't like a big deal. It was, I don't know what it was. It wasn't like this and that. I don't know. Maybe they just didn't go down to, because they were teenagers. In the the time period of them, because right now they're like in their 70s, if they're still alive. 78, 76, yeah. So in the '60s, during that Bull Connor stuff in Birmingham, they were teenagers. And so in the '80s, they're in their 30s, and we're their kids or whatever. They did talk about Bull Connor. You're like, who's Bull? That's the one, the famous black and white films and pictures, the fire hoses and the German shepherds. He was the police chief or the sheriff that was sicking the dogs. Obviously, it wasn't him because he was in charge. But he was them black and white pictures. But they wasn't talking about, it was historic or whatever. They just, it's almost like, you remember back in our, like right now. but I'm, whatever, remember back in 93, this and that. But it wasn't a good thing or bad. It just wasn't traumatic. He like, how do you know? Because they wasn't talking about it to us like it's traumatic. So yeah, helicopters. They look, this Harris, they just is like want us to shut up. They don't want Candace Owens to talk. They don't want me to talk about it. They these motherfuckers. This is a good thing. This is a good sign. This is a very good sign that they're scared as hell. Yeah, all that is like where they going, where they coming from. I don't even know where the firehouse is around here. Usually, big cities, the firehouse is right around the corner. But so my point, it wasn't something that where they was telling us that, y'all gotta watch it. White folks. It was literally, and maybe it was no. Seriously, you know what? I don't know. I really don't know. I was a little kid. Think about something like that, and you wasn't involved in civil rights, but you lived there because Martin Luther King didn't live there, and the civil rights. And honestly, I hate to say it, the whole thing was the same people it's a different generation of communists, but the whole thing was to disrupt America. And I remember I told you, I'm, torn because if it wasn't for the communists, I probably wouldn't even be here, be born, because but they wasn't trying to free us. They just was trying to stir up trouble. That's a fact. The whole thing was the civil rights movement, all that shit was communists trying to stir up trouble. And yeah, I see them videos, and I gotta think about that too, But it's nothing that basically I don't have to think about it. It is, it's gone, it's over with, and yes, communists got played for our good. But right now, y'all not gonna win. It's over with. That's the end of it. Yeah. So honestly, I ain't even gotta think about it. Feel bad. It's like, thank you, suckers. Y'all was suckers. Y'all gave us what I got right now. One for you. Not like I said, it's not even though I wouldn't have. You're like, you don't even have. I know. I just got my own place, but it ain't nice like that. But y'all are mad. But it's like I wouldn't even be here if it weren't for you dummies. And you still try. So yeah, thank you. It is not a real. What I'm saying. Yeah, thank you, dummy. Thank you, sucker.
Teary-eyed and emotional talking about busing and desegregation. I'm going to roll that back for you just to
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Nobody talked about busing, not just my folks. They didn't talk about it in school. That's what I'm saying. It wasn't none of this shit. Nobody, they did talk about Emma Martin Luther King, but that was it. And really, most of it was just history class. As a little kid, and then, whatever year it was, I know I was in grade school, they made it a federal holiday, but that's about it. And the singing, I remember we used to have to sing, and and Stevie Wonder came up with the "Happy Birthday to you, Happy Birthday," all that shit. Seriously, that I mean, I'm just saying, all the stuff our generation had to do, for the civil rights, as whatever. Really, probably all that shit was communist shit. And then the federal holiday, Martin Luther King Day, whatever. It's all good, and but
your memory. Take a listen.
You also worked with them to oppose busing. And, there was a little girl in California who was part of the second class to integrate her public schools. And she was bused to school every day. And that little girl was me.
Okay.
So you should be president because you was a little girl who got bused?
So you watch that clip, okay? You're an American. You see she's getting a little choked up, and you can instantly assume that what she means is that she was like a Ruby Bridges. Yeah, like that little girl was me in second grade. I was a part of the second class to be desegregated. Like,
And it's like, no, it's not Alabama. Yada yada yada. Or any of that. Like I said, the 16th Street Baptist Church, but that wasn't segregation. That was the bombing. And all this, emotional shit is like that don't mean that you should be in charge of anything. It's like getting a dude who was a victim of carjacking or whatever. We're gonna put you in charge because you're a victim. Now, if you already a leader and that's why you got a fancy car and you get carjacked, and whatever, you handle it, you bounce back, you pay your insurance, get another car. Yeah, you should be in charge. But if you have you're an idiot like Kamala, and we can see it, why should you be in charge because something bad happened to you?
that instantly signals, given the emotionality of it, that she was a Ruby Bridges. Talk about mining Black history. Well, let me be clear. She intentionally misled people here to make them believe that she was a young Ruby Bridges. This is how disgusting and despicable this woman is. She wanted people to go back in their minds to all they learned about Ruby Bridges, the images of Ruby Bridges having to be protected by police as she entered into that school in Louisiana. She wanted people to go back in their minds to that. That's why she's getting all choky. She's like on the brink of tears. That little girl. So to be perfectly clear here, that little girl went to Thousand Oaks Elementary School in Berkeley, and far from that impression she's giving, she did not live through any desegregation or any real desegregation at all.
It was the West Coast Democrat. Technically, it's the same Democrats, California Democrats, Deep South Democrats. But anyway.
Because as I mentioned, the schools had already gone through that before she was born. Literally before she was born in 1947. In fact, the school district had to issue a statement after that performance on stage. And this is what they had to put up on their website for clarification. They wrote, "There has been some confusion in the media and social media around the Berkeley schools and integration due to the fact that our high school was already integrated, as evidenced, for example, by high school yearbooks, which show children of many race and ethnicities at school together prior to 1968. In Berkeley, we only have one comprehensive high school, so it was integrated by default. Our elementary schools, however, reflected the racial composition of our neighborhoods, which, like many neighborhoods across America, reflected the history of segregation stemming from policies which restricted the opportunities of non-white residents." So then they go on, "We recently celebrated the 50-year anniversary of our voluntary busing plan." And you can find additional details here. So let me clarify to you what actually happened in her childhood. There was no desegregation effort that she had to live through. She was not Ruby Bridges. Rather, what they realized was because of the past in which you had Black people all living in one neighborhood, and this was contributed sometimes because of like red line districting. You had Black people living in one neighborhood, you had white people living in one neighborhood. What ended up happening was that you had schools which were like majority Black and which were majority white. And so what they wanted to do in Berkeley was to be the first to offer a busing plan to turn that around, so that the buses would pick up students that lived far from the white school and bring them over there, so that the schools would be more evenly mixed. That's what she's describing. So after they put and implemented this busing plan, Kamala was the second or third class since they had implemented this busing plan. Nothing to do with desegregation, just an effort to say, okay, we're realizing now if people are just districted according to where they live, you're going to have these schools that are like 85% Black and some schools that are 85% white. That's what it is. So just thinking about the emotionality and how tricky she's being here, again, trying to allude to like some Ruby Bridges scenario, really makes me angry. It is just so unacceptable. I just can't stand this fraud. And it's so important to state, Also, that the one-drop rule was declared officially unconstitutional in 1967. That was just 3 years after Kamala was born. This is just not her childhood at all. Not her childhood at all. This is just what she does. She lies and she lies and she lies. But it gets better. It gets better. But first, I'm going to remind you guys about preborn, because Kamala is indeed the first vice presidential candidate to ever visit an abortion facility. And Tim Walz supported a bill in his home state which legalized the denial of life-saving medical care to infants born alive after botched abortions. The media has dubbed this the abortion election. We have to stand up to this evil. When you join forces with Preborn, the largest pro-life organization in the nation, you are protecting the greatest victims in our society, babies that are in their mother's wombs. Preborn's network of clinics are positioned in the highest abortion areas in the nation, and they have rescued over 300,000 babies. When a woman considering an abortion searches to end her baby's life, Preborn is there. Preborn gives them a free ultrasound. The power of hearing a heartbeat on an ultrasound combined with God's love doubles a baby's chance at life. One ultrasound costs just $28, and up to 5 ultrasounds are $140. Any gift will help their cause, and all gifts are tax deductible. To donate securely, dial pound 250 and say the keyword baby. That's pound 250 baby. Or you can go to preborn.com/Candace. That's preborn.com/Candace. So like I said, it gets better, because yesterday I was going through her book that I downloaded. I downloaded that so that you didn't have to, because I wanted to send a picture of her grandma Beryl to someone. So initially when we started looking into the story, my producer had downloaded the book, I had downloaded the book, but he had stumbled upon the picture of Beryl. So I hadn't actually flipped through the ebook that I had downloaded. And so remarkably, it was kind of the first time I was going to the picture segment looking for Beryl, and I realized Beryl's not in this book. I was going, wait, what's going on? This is her book. Where is the Beryl picture? And I said to my producer, like, did we make a mistake? Like, this is definitely in the book. He pulls his up. He has a picture of Beryl. Mine doesn't. I'm going, is this a different edition of the book? And yes, it was. There were actually 2 publications of the book. One in January of 2019. And then 5 months later, in May of 2019, they published what is known as a Young Readers Edition. Basically, it's exactly what it sounds like. It's meant to be for younger readers, and it's typically more pictorial, right? So they want to change a couple of words, essentially kind of dumb it down to make it easier to read and include more pictures. Yet in this edition, they decided to remove pictures. And it's just, I guess, ironic that the pictures that they removed for the Young Readers Later edition were pictures of Black Iris and Grandma Beryl. There were more pictures that were removed, but family members were all still there, except for Black Iris and Grandma Beryl. I found that to be extremely interesting, but suddenly I realized that I had never flipped through the book that had more pictures than the edition that I was holding. And I started going through them, and you guys are not even going to believe just how diabolical Kamala Harris is. It was just... I'm going to have to just go through this calmly, because I am telling you, as a Black person, it's actually offensive how hard she tried to Blackify herself. And it made me think of the entire Emmanuel Macron regime.
She's Black, y'all. Kamala Harris is Black, y'all.
Macron scandal, because the journalist that broke that story essentially said that what they do when they're running is they publish a book, and that is the legend that is established, essentially, because people in their minds think, oh, well, if it's in a book and a publisher agreed to publish it, HarperCollins published this book about Kamala, they must have fact-checked this, and all of this must be true. People have this wrong.
Let's get to the phone call.
Untrue. He told me that Kamala...
Oh, here we go.
This guy's got a Caribbean accent. My grandma had a very thick Tonian.
Hey, man, time to go to work. You know, whatever. You could have been talking to Damon Wayans.
She's going around talking about collard greens, putting in fake... Her uncle. Because that actually happened, like I promised you yesterday. I said I had a phone call. I was trying to wait for it to happen yesterday. Well, it happened last night. Part 1 of our phone call happened last night. We briefly spoke on the phone, I would say, for about 10 minutes. And I first want to say just how much I liked this guy. I just had a feel like... Okay, I'll be honest. I have a Caribbean bias. my former producer made it very clear to me that I have a Caribbean bias because she'd pitch me stories or like say like Rihanna did this, and I'd be like, I'm not gonna say anything bad about Rihanna, or like Nicki Minaj, and she's like, but I have a Caribbean bias. This guy's got a Caribbean accent. My grandma had a very thick St. Tomian accent, so it was just like I could sense his Caribbean calm. I can't explain to you, and I could just also sense that he was being incredibly honest and forthright, and he was speaking to me, and it was actually like very I guess I would say just beautiful in a way, because he cared about this. He wanted to reach out because he cares so much about Vioris, and he doesn't want whatever is going on with Kamala to make people have this perception of Vioris. And I told him right away that it was never my intention for him to get inundated. So I want to be clear. My understanding is that it's the press calling, but I want to make sure that there are no Candace Owens viewers that are going out there calling any of these relatives that are still alive, because we can find information online, but we definitely should not be harassing her relatives who have nothing to do with her running, and in many cases don't even agree with her politics. Like this person that I spoke to is a Candace Owens fan, conservative, as many Caribbeans are conservative, because on the islands that it's just not a lot of wokeness. I'll leave it at that. Why are you gay kind of a vibe going on. You are gay. It's a little bit more of like an island vibe. Anyways, I just said to him, look, we're just trying to get questions answered about Kamala's heritage because of her father's paper. I said, I have a lot of questions about your brother, Donald Harris. I just am not understanding anything in this paper. And I went through the holes in it. I went through the fact that, he mentions this person growing up, like they all kind of grew up on a farm together, but you're asking the question, like Beryl married this person. Why is he trying to make it seem like everyone grew up as one happy family? Why didn't he even mention Vioris at all, which is kind of the dog that didn't bark? And I asked him directly if he knew the Miss Iris that he is referring to in this book, in the Miss Iris that Donald J. Harris is referring to in his piece, rather, who he says is Iris Nay Finnegan. Again, very strange, because Iris should have never been Nay Finnegan. Finnegan was her married name. And he said, I can't answer that. I don't know that name. I want to be very clear. He has a relationship with Donald.
Well, see, that's what I said last night. The island people, like I said, American people, I didn't seen, there's all types of discrepancies. And it don't even have to be black people or poor people. Rich people. Motherfuckers like to fuck. Hoes, niggas, women and men like to fuck. So, not everybody, but, people. Even if that's why you had scandals. Rich folks cheated. Rich bitch or rich dude, he cheated. It happens. So none of that, you don't have to explain. That's why I said last night, because what I was foreseeing is people, it don't, this dude, even if the dude was like, yeah, no, she's black and this and that, I know for a fact. It's like, you don't know, it don't matter, because first of all, was you in the bedroom? Even though, yeah, she even brought up Maury Povich. And there's episodes Maury Povich and somebody would on the stage, and they're arguing, maybe a witness the girl then brought, as the girl, her witness is like, was you in the bedroom? Because maybe the dude, his mother or his sister is defending him. That's not his baby. And the girl is like, was you in the bedroom with it might even be the girl herself. Was you in the bedroom with us? You don't know. Well, first of all, that's not what they're talking about. He's basically, to kill all the TV drama, he's just the potential. It don't matter if you called him your main dude, you told everybody that was your boyfriend, your man, you don't cheat. The fact is, people knew you was cheating, so he's just a potential father. And then, you got them ones that got to come back 2 or 3 times, and it's not even about the all that shit. It's about, science and all that, is like, and just real culture, as y'all say, culture. Not even culture, just real, just shit goes down in human, just because the dude, he could be, her real uncle, Kamala's real uncle, But that don't mean, not even that don't mean. Actually, that's sick. If he actually knows for a fact about Kamala, that means he was in the bedroom and it was a threesome. So no, he doesn't.
He is close with Donald. They grew up together. He considers Donald his full brother. He has no idea who Miss Iris Finnegan is. This is Donald's brother that we're talking about.
No, you just see. That's what I'm saying. Your own brother. You know, a lot of the brothers I didn't heard it in my own life. People I know, brothers. You know, you might have ran a train on a bitch. This and that. That's what I'm saying. He's just because he's the brother or considers a brother, he doesn't know anything for a fact. But it sounds like what she's trying to say. But either way, I just can't go along with it. Even that's what I'm saying. Our side, we don't go along with this, and that is hearsay. Oh, that's the brother. Like I said, did they have a threesome? Yeah, two brothers ran a train, and then you know that ain't even more important. That's Jerry Springer shit. Jerry. You know, y'all gonna elect a chick from a Jerry Springer episode as president?
I want to be very clear. He has a relationship with Donald. He is close with Donald. They grew up together. He considers Donald his full brother. He has no idea who Miss Iris Finnegan is. This is Donald's brother that we're talking about. So Nay Finnegan, again, very strange, because Iris should have never been Nay Finnegan. Finnegan was her married name. And he said, I can't answer that. I don't know that name. I want to be very clear. He has a relationship with Donald. He is close with Donald. They grew up together. He considers Donald his full brother. He has no idea who Miss Iris Finnegan is. This is Donald's brother, who he says is directly if he knew the Miss Iris that he is referring to in this book, in the Miss Iris that Donald J. Harris is referring to in his piece, rather, who he says is Iris Nay Finnegan. Again, very strange, because Iris should have never been Nay Finnegan. Finnegan was her married name. And he said, I can't answer that. I don't know that name. I want to be very clear. He has a relationship with Donald. He is close with Donald. They grew up together. He considers Donald his full brother. He has no idea who Miss Iris Finnegan is. This is Donald's brother.
I mean, you know, she's a woman. Seriously. Stop it right there. She don't understand. I don't care if I grew up together with you. You're your bestest friend. You might tell, but real niggas, you don't tell everything. Even when unless it's some heartbreak. That's the only. If everything going good with some chick, you don't tell nothing. Everybody, you ain't even gotta tell them that's your girl. Everybody realize that's your girl. I don't care. Yeah, that's modern day. Nope. That's just men. Period. Right. So this dude do not know anything. Like I said, the only way he knows unless he was there. And it's like, and also, if the other dude, the Donald dude, the grandfather, so-called, whatever, if he got cheated on, he might, some dudes ain't man enough to admit it. He might lie. He might have lied. It's just way too many. And it's not speculation. It's just way too much, But y'all women don't understand. That's fine. That's good. That's it's no secret. We don't talk to you like that. And if you got a dude that's your friend, you think he's a real man, he's not. Because if he's your friend, he's telling you what you think is man secrets, he's gay. But anyway,
talking about. So I said, okay, that's of course of some interest to me. I asked him why it is.
I mean, I'm just saying, this whole, like I said last night, even
then mentioning this Miss Iris, and he told me that he wanted to clarify something which was of most importance to me. He wanted me to know that before Vioris and Oscar Harris got married, Oscar Harris already had 3 children, okay? One of them being Donald. Now, to be clear, he is younger than Donald, a lot younger than Donald, so he wouldn't know much about if there was some family secret. He would not be aware of it, but to the best of his knowledge, this is what he was told, that they had 3 children before Vioris and Oscar got married. And I asked him, quite frankly, if he knew or heard of Beryl. He told me he does not know Beryl. instant red flag to me. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, how do you not know? If you have a half sibling that you are close to and have been close to your whole life, how do you not know who their mom is? He said, I don't know who his mother is. You don't know who Donald Harris's mom is. The woman who started this entire thing, Beryl Finnegan, the person who just flagged me as weird, something is not right here. We now know that Donald Harris's brother does not know him, okay? Like I said, he said that Oscar Harris had 3 children before he married Bioris. He mentioned that Donald was very close to them. He also said that Oscar Harris's children all had businesses. That Donald, when he was coming up, Donald was in university. They kept very close to him. He said that Donald has always been very, very private, and he doesn't like publicity. And I find that to be very interesting. But what people, yeah, sure, there are some people who are exceedingly private, and there are some people who are exceedingly private because they have something to hide. And I, again, do not feel that Donald Harris was telling the truth about his upbringing. I think he gave some truths and kind of made it very murky in his Jamaican heritage piece, but some things that were objectively proven to be untrue. He told me that Kamala definitively knows Bioris, that he also knows her. She visited Jamaica twice with her father, and that sometime after she had graduated college, she went down to Florida with her sister, and she visited Bioris. So she had a relationship with Bioris. Unfortunately, Bioris did not make her book. And I think we know why Bioris did not make her book. Now, I have no reason not to believe the person that I spoke to. I just felt that he was being very authentic, and he was there to simply clarify some things, and that he didn't know the answers to some things. He authentically didn't know. And if he is telling me something that is not correct, then the reason why those things are not correct is not because he's trying to lie, but it's because he is not aware of them. So it leads us, again, to more questions about Donald Harris. Who is this guy? Who is his mother? Where is Beryl? Okay, where is Iris Finnegan? Why won't Kamala, who felt so, I guess, close enough to Beryl and Iris to include them in their book, why won't she even mention them as an easy way to debunk what is being said? Why is she even mentioning the 1/8 rule? What are you talking about, Kamala?
And so there's a whole lot of, so the dude really, like I said, he didn't say anything. He's not a Jim. I mean, to me,
if you're telling us that your grandmother is Beryl, she looks pretty black to us, like that would make you more than 1/8 black. What's going on here? Why are we getting all iffy on the details? We've got a couple of lingering questions here, and I'll tell you what we are starting to think about. But first, I want to remind you to drink coffee, because we are not letting go of the story. You're going to need a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of coffee. If you're gonna drink a coffee, it should be 7 weeks. It's $500,000 for these centers, and have saved each member. Your order will seriously. We got nothing more than like a visual, and I can say by the visual, this woman does look like the barrel that is pictured with Kamala. That I said looks like a 60-year-old woman. I'll show you the photo right here. Okay, so somebody came across a woman who has the same name, Beryl, who is still alive, very, very, very old. Now, this woman is not at all related to Kamala, judging by who her son is and doing that sort of a thing. She's not related to Kamala, but again, she has that same name. She's still alive, and we have confirmed that she is from that same town, that same place, Brownstown, Jamaica. So we know she would have been there at the same time. And like I said, she resembles the person that Kamala is trying to pass off as her grandma. Could this be the help? Could this be a woman that they just took a picture with? We're going to explore that lead, but has that same name. She's still alive, and we have confirmed that she is from that same town, that same place, Brownstown, Jamaica. So we know she would have been there at the same time. And like I said, she resembles the person that Kamala is trying to pass.
Let me see. I don't want to see what type of car it is, not because of that. What is that, a Corvette? Yeah, I just wanted, don't really, yeah. It's just, this nigga rolling through. But that's an old, what is that, a C7 or C6 Corvette? And yeah, it's probably a 6-speed. He hooked it, But that's what I'm saying. That's why he's rolling by. Because he's out of, he's finna. It's just lame. It's just lame. If you didn't make that money on your own, cuz it's over with. The driving by because it's over with. That ain't our fault, nigga. So you did all this to get your Corvette. Whatever, it's just like, nigga, it's over with. I hope you said, as a matter of fact, don't you own it, or was it finna be confiscated or something?
Pass off as her grandma. Could this be the help? Could this be a woman that they just took a picture with? We're going to explore that lead, but first, a bigger lead. Now I can just send all of you guys to hunt and figure things out. By the way, I'm depressed because next week I'm on vacation, which means that we're going to have to stop this. Like, tomorrow will be the last day of the investigation before we have to pause for a week and come back after Columbus Day. But anyways, here is something that you guys can help with. So remember in Donald J. Harris's piece, he mentioned only a sister, despite the fact that he has like at least 5 other siblings. He only mentioned Enid Maud Harris. He just calls her Enid. We were able to find her because one of you guys sent us a file, and it is confirmed that Enid is the sister that Donald Harris had, which predates his Oscar Harris's marriage to Leoris. And it turns out that she is just a half-sister. We were able to determine this because we found her marriage certificate where both of her parents' names are listed. I'm going to show that to you right now so you can see that Enid Maud Harris got married at St. Peter's Church. This was in New York. And that she married a man named Hugh Ashton Watts. Okay. And you can see listed under her parents, we have Oscar Joseph Harris, and we also have Perline Curry. We cannot find Perline Curry, and we cannot find Hugh Ashton Watts. Now, both of these people would be dead today. Okay, so again, we're just asking you to crawl through online looking for documents to determine who these people are. It's like without a trace. We know that Enid is still alive. Obviously, Enid is...
It means she lied, right? All this, if it take all this to prove you're black, people gotta research. It's like, it's done. This is way, thankfully, criminal charges are cut and dry. You don't need all this type of investigation. But as far as, Kamala trying to be, this and that, and not only that, like I said, her integrity, she lied. So if you got to do all this researching, you know,
very advanced in age, so do not call Enid and ask any
and
questions.
then
We are
it's
not
like,
okay
why wouldn't she just take a 24 and me or whatever the fuck that shit is, and it'll tell you how much percentage of your heritage you got.
with that. We are not here to harass elderly people. We're just looking for answers because there is a plausibility that maybe Perlene Curry is his true mother that he's not telling us about. Maybe Perlene Curry is Kamala Harris's grandmother and not Beryl, right?
And then another thing, I don't know about Candace Owens. She's way younger than me. Well, not way, but like 15 or whatever years. But they might not, they might the new woke shit. And she was, mama's baby, daddy's maybe. They say that in the 80s, especially as we started getting older, and one of the only warnings we might have got, when you just before you get in that age where you might get a girl pregnant. Or man, I don't even know it was a warning. More than likely, again, it was probably somebody else, older, obviously older, and might have been the 80s. And back then, there was no DNA. Even 87, 88, wasn't no DNA. So his mom was, and blood test was the only thing, but blood test still wasn't definitive. It just means same. The other dude had the same blood type, or whatever. But they had a saying, mama's babies, daddy's maybes. You know. And it's like, no, we're not, letting this go because, yeah, this is our lives, our money. Ain't nobody, we're not giving up anything. Hey, check this out. I don't know, something just made me, how people always talk about this and that. Don't that look like a person or an angel? You see that right there? I don't know what made me look at it. Let me take another picture. In the clouds, it's moving now. I think the wind is blowing it apart, but yeah, it's fucking moving. Yeah, it's falling apart now. I didn't missed it. Yeah, it is. It's falling apart. But for a second before it moved, before it was looking like an angel with wings. Now it's dissipating. But I don't know. I take it as a sign. It's like yeah. I have my piece to say about Candace. Is yeah, because yeah, it's totally tore apart now. The wind and blown. So I looked up, and that means that's even more of a sign, right? A sign. Because I looked up at the right time to see uh figure in the clouds, angel or person looking down at me. But so that means I'm right about the mama's all that everything. No offense to Candace, she's just young, whatever. As she's trying to be thorough, it's like you gotta do all that. Basically, she's not black. All that stuff, And you hear women, and maybe it's these new dudes, the Caribbean, Jamaican stuff. These Jamaican dudes ain't woke. No, you mean yeah? The niggas is no offense. What I'm saying is they'll try to bring that. Remember, I told you, be warned about these ex-Democrats. There's no such thing as it is not hate or jealousy. You know, yeah, Jamaicans, they're gay. They kill them. That's because the nigga that killed them is gay. He's protecting his secret. That Jamaican, yeah, exactly. The nigga, oh, remember that he's gay. What are you, gay, man? You protest too much. Like I said, if you got to talk about it. Yeah, you gay. Why you keep bringing up that shit? That what I'm saying. They is like the other one, that light skinned chick. Mala, she don't. What I'm saying is, you got all these recent converts, 3, 4 years, and 5, 6 years, and they're superstars in the Republican Party, black superstars. They're ex-Democrats. I don't care about the super. It's just the stuff that don't bring that stuff over here. Don't bring the old Jamaican dudes. They don't play. No, no, no. Or she didn't say that. Yeah, they don't play. But she said they don't. Yeah, she did. That woke is like no, no. If anything, they're being ignored as far as they deemed militarily. They're deemed insignificant to infiltrate Jamaica, the Caribbean. But as far as they're not gay, is not what I'm saying. Don't bring that. Where you're trying to make a group of niggas more than the rest of us, and we're not. We don't feel emasculate or anything. It's just don't bring that mentality over here. There's nobody's better. No nigga. We're equality. We're all the same. That's what I'm saying. Don't try to bring that. Yeah, the Jamaica. Yeah, the Caribbean vibe. What do you gay? They try to. She just said it. What do you gay, Monty? It's like that's not it. And everybody know. Like I said, in my high school days, if you what are you trying to? The nigga that's fighting or arguing the most, he got something to hide. So if you always what are you gay, man? You the gay nigga. What the hell is you the one got little tiny shorts on and go scuba diving with booty shorts on, nigga? Get the fuck. If we gonna go there, I'm just saying. And it's like, well, them niggas get all the pussy. Yeah, that's because hoes, girls trip. They're hoes. I'm pretty sure you got all types of bumps and what. No, it's not. It's not hate. I'm just saying. But what I'm saying is, don't bring that stuff and try to that division. There's a certain Caribbean people are better than Black Americans. Like no, Caribbean men. No, don't. It's not even an argument because exactly a woman say it, and even though we're not offended or what are you mad? Exactly, it's that trick, that gaslighting. They say something, and you feel naturally you want to say something back, but if you say something back. Why are you saying something back? I must have hit a nerve. Yeah, hit dog with her. No, don't bring that shit over here. That's why I said, I've been saying, I said it over and over again. I keep saying all of them, all these Democrats who all of a sudden, they seen the light, black people, and then they go doing tours and speaking, and all this is like we don't need speakers and tours. We need to just vote out corrupt Democrats. We don't need speakers and leaders and none of that shit. The white community don't have speakers and not like that. They got Tony Robbins. He's not a politician. He just tried to tell you, you're good enough and you can make it. That's it. If y'all want to do that shit, that's fine. But all this, leaders and community and that's the Democrat stuff. Or y'all trying to come on the Republican side. We don't need y'all to fight BLM. Straight up. Alright, so I got to start a whole, because this video long as hell. I'm going to start another one right quick, because I've been trying to get to this one. And I got sidetracked by the Candace Owens things,